Because, all right, is Jeezy in the top 50?
If he did, he would probably be like in the 40 to 50. He'd be in the 45 to 50 range if we're being objective, Mike, if he was.
Y'all think
How about
Jeezy's
this?
top
Where do you
50?
have Fat Joe all time? Because Fat Joe's a better rapper than Jeezy.
Damn, you hit me with one there. I don't know. Fat Joe just said he was black, so I don't know. I got to think about that.
You want to know what, Mike? I'm not going to recant anything that I said. Puerto Ricans do consider themselves to be part of the Afro island heritage that like they make no. Listen, I've been talking to my Puerto Rican constituency. I got people everywhere.
Where do they file what do they file on the census though? Because most of them, I mean, I know people who go out there and do the census reports. They classify themselves as white on the census.
All I'm saying is that just like Jamaica and Barbados and in the Bahamas, they are an indigenous Afro island people, essentially, whether we like it or not. I think it's just the fact that there is a Latin influence as well, but a lot of them do identify with the African American side as island people, the same way people from the Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, like it's the same thing to a lot of them. I'm just giving you something to think about, that there are
No, no, no.
some of them that viably like really feel that way, so understand why he's using the word. I then had a couple of the homies like, just kind of get my ear a little bit like, hey, Coop, like, Puerto Rico,
Well, this is
and
what
I
I'll
done
say.
been,
This is what I'll say.
and Mike, Mike, and I've been to Puerto Rico too, and as somebody that's been there, it's like I was very much treated like a commoner when I was there, and
Yeah,
like me
me
and my
too.
ex-wife, like we was in the streets. Like I told you, Mike, when I traveled like we was in the streets, and like it was all up. I was there for the 4th of July, pouring up. They was like pouring me and her shots in the streets and stuff. Like we was part of the tribe, so it's like,
Same, but this is what I'll say, and I got a lot of friends and shit. My one of my exes is a real Afro Dominican. She's darker than I am. But this is the
right,
thing: there are
right.
black and white people in all walks, in all countries, right?
Correct.
And there are darker Puerto Ricans. What's the young lady's name that was on Love and Hip Hop Miami? The one with the afro or whatever. It was dark skin. She's real. She is a real Afro Latina, right?
Right.
She
No, I get what you're
Jennifer
saying, though.
Lopez is not. You look at, you know what I'm saying? And when Jennifer Lopez gets casted
Why
in
you got to talk
films,
about you?
I'm using her as an example because
Okay.
she is Puerto Rican, but when she is actually in her films, they don't side her with a black love interest. They don't. Do they? There are
Fair.
people who are fair skinned in
Fair.
their
No, that's
country,
fair.
and there are people who are darker skinned in their country. A good friend of mine, she's Brazilian, Julia. Shout out to her. She's a lighter complected Brazilian, but she has family members that are darker. They get treated a lot different in
No,
Brazil as darker Brazilians than she does.
hold
So
on.
I'm saying all that to say, Fat Joe is not one of those darker Puerto Ricans. It's just the truth. So in his
No,
country, he would be
I'll tell
treated
you
as more
what.
of a fair skinned Puerto Rican. So when you come over here to America, it doesn't change that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is, and it's fine.
I'll tell you what. I mean, Mike, I was, dating a woman who was half Filipino until recently, and you know, I know some Filipinos who are lighter, and they tend to date Caucasian men because I think Caucasian men find them to be more attractive Asian Filipino women than the darker ones that found themselves with black men, quite frankly. So it's even like within the Filipino, like Asian tradition, it's like I kind of see my light skinned Filipino friends, they typically end up with white guys, and the ones that are kind of like caramel and bronze and beyond, they end up with niggas like me.
Deontay Smith in the super chat says you can't have trap music Mount Rushmore without Jeezy. He is on there with Ti, Gucci, etc. Hmm. I
See,
guess so.
that's what I'm saying, Mike. I think some of your take is some of the take that you've always had, and some of other people's takes is just the take that they've always had. And I think some of this just comes down to, it's like, well, did you like this artist really that much to begin with? Well, in your case, the answer is probably going to be no. Therefore, harder for you to enjoy them when they're not in their prime and making classic songs.
Well, I'm gonna be real. I didn't really like the game that much to begin with. I didn't see the big hype. I didn't think that he could
Oh,
actually
I always
rap
like
that
Game.
well. I didn't. I thought he had a lot of help on the documentary, and over time, the game. I mean, he bought me. I mean, he sold me on him. You know what I'm saying? Because he continuously improved. Same thing with Ross. I wasn't a real big Ross fan on Port of Miami. I thought he was cool. He had a hot song. Ross got better. Jeezy didn't do those things. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, Coop, if Just Blaze 27, Jeezy's 200. LP says, y'all catch that Have interview with China Mac? He said Tip helped him make the infamous and guided him through the process. Mm-hmm. Tip is the true GOAT. Of course he is. And didn't take any credit for any of that stuff along the way. You know what I mean? That's what a humble individual. But yeah, I guess we went on that.
Well, he's humble because he talks about it, but he doesn't talk about it in a way that makes it feel like that he's being an arrogant SOB.
Right. He'll just tell you the story and how.
Right, he'll be like, yeah. So, I ran into Mobb Deep because, they had worked with, like, Havoc was coming around the studio when I was working for One Level on Illmatic, and you know what I'm saying? It'd be stuff like that.
And another humble person that probably helped him out along the way, I think, might have been Prince Paul. Like, I mean, I have to believe that. But, I mean, I've never heard those stories.
From the De La stuff?
Yeah, like, I mean, when you listen
definitely haven't been watching, but I think they all helped each other, too, because it's like, well, if you hear Large Pro doing this over here, and then you hear, Primo over here, and Pete Rock over here, and Prince Paul over here, and Marley's still active.
Well, Prince Paul was, Marley was still active, but Prince Paul was a little older than them because he was rocking with Stethasonic, but he was the youngest in Stethasonic. So he was able to take his wacky ideas that they didn't want to take onto a new group with De La Soul, where he was now the OG in that pack. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
But yeah, I would have to say I would put man, that's a tough one, man. Fat Joe or Jeezy, because the thing is, Jeezy has impact that I can't say Fat Joe has.
Correct. That is correct.
But Fat Joe has longevity that I can't say Jeezy has.
That too is correct.
But I will give Jeezy this. He can hold down a song and, make a hit record on his own, where I'm not sure if I could say the same thing about Fat Joe. Is that fair?
I think that is a fair assessment. I think that's an honest assessment from somebody that's not his biggest fan either. So yeah.
So I would have to be real, and I might have to put Jeezy ahead of Fat Joe. Yeah. And I see what people are saying in the chat. I mean,
50,
Fat Joe.
But I would tell you, Fat Joe's a better rapper.
I was gonna say that. Bar for bar, Fat Joe's a better rapper because some people in there are saying, Fat Joe by a mile. I get that. But if we talk about the overall thing as an artist, I might have to put Jeezy ahead of him.
But that's why the overall matters still. Like, it's not always just enough to be the better lyricist or have the better bar work or MC. It doesn't constitute everything.
They're saying that Fat Joe has a bigger impact. Does he?
I think they're looking at everything that he's contributed.
As the artist Fat Joe, we look at the discographies, Jeezy and Joe. He has more impact. Y'all just said that Jeezy would be on the Mount Rushmore of trap music. What Mount Rushmore is Fat Joe on? I mean, let's be real. Dame with the super chat says, "Is Cool G Rap on the Run a top 10 storytelling song?"
I've never heard somebody ask that.
Possibly. We got to think about that. There's a lot of stories out there.
Do you think that's Cool G Rap's best story?
I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, well, is that his best story to you?
Eric Terrell with super chat says,
we got to do a Cool G Rap dig soon. That might send me down a hole. I was looking for a reason to get down a hip hop hole about something. I might get down a Cool G Rap hole this weekend.
Eric Terrell says, y'all put Q-Tip's production up high as far as hip hop, but Organized Noise don't use samples. Why y'all downgrade their catalog in hip hop? I don't. Listen, this is the thing, man. Organized. I love Organized, but they're a team of 3. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to boil it down to Ray Murray, from what I understand, who made a lot of that stuff, just by himself, then I'm with that. I love Organized, man, but they use samples too. They just got a lot of the stuff replayed, I mean, it's dope. It's incredible stuff, but I don't know. It's tough when we're talking about putting teams up against individual people. And I think that if we really want to be honest, if we get past Still Standing, the full projects that they did, it kind of gets slimmer and slimmer. I think the last great full project they did, in my opinion, was Cool Breeze, East Point's greatest hit.
Did they do East Point's greatest hits? I mean,
Mr. DJ did a few on there, but they did a bulk of it.
okay, so here's the thing with Organized Noise, just respectfully. It's like, well, they really just did in full Southern Playalistic, Soul Food, Still Standing,
Yep.
and East Point's greatest hits, right?
Yep.
Right?
And I don't think they did East Point's greatest hits in full either. I think because even with the documentary, did you see the Organized Noise documentary?
Yeah, I loved it.
I loved it too. It feels like though, and it answered a lot of questions for me. And I'm gonna tread lightly because these guys are my heroes. These guys raised me, right? But I'm saying all of this respectfully, and they said this in the documentary. It feels like once they got that Interscope situation, and they got a whole bunch of money,
they stopped working as hard.
Yeah, they stopped working as hard. Rico stopped working as hard, and Sleepy stopped working as hard, and Ray was stuck basically doing the bulk of the work and felt like, too much was just being put on him, and he wasn't getting the contributions from everybody else. And so, with that being said, I think that's kind of what happened to Goody Mob in their direction from a production standpoint. Goody Mob was very dependent on Organized Noise as a production team, whereas Outkast had already kind of branched off on ATLians by starting to produce their own stuff, and they were able to continue on. So, yeah, I mean, we have to factor in those things too. But I also love the production that was on Even in Darkness, the Dungeon Family compilation. But what happened with them is the fact that other guys in their camp started producing too. I mean, you had guys like Dre, Big Boy, Mr. DJ. You had CeeLo starting to produce. So it was like, whereas with Tribe, you got just Q-Tip. And with Mob, you got just Havoc. And then Dilla comes along. But with Organized, everybody's producing now.
Well, here's also the thing about it too, and I mean this respectfully too. Like, somebody who has dual citizenship, I consider myself to be an Atlanta native as well. Southern Playalistic and Soul Food are their greatest triumphs as a production team, right?
Straight up. Not even a question.
Now,
Southern Playalistic's one of the best produced hip hop albums I've ever heard from that time period.
And I agree, but Mike, let's rate this on a proper scale. Where do Southern Playalistic and Soul Food find themselves all time as rap albums?
I think Southern Playalistic, from a production standpoint, if we're keeping it just production, right? Because those are the things they control. I think the Southern Playalistic is very high. Very high. I love what they did on Soul Food as well, because what they did, they dialed it back from Southern Playalistic, and they let the actual lyricists be in the forefront as opposed to the production. Because I really do believe that Cass needed that production to be that strong on Southern Playalistic, whereas Goody Mob needed the production to be at a minimal for Soul Food.
Yeah.
So it's great production work.
Like
yeah. It's great production work for different reasons. But if we were to put this up against all the great produced albums like A Doggy Style and all that, give me Southern Playalistic to throw in that. You know what I'm saying? And then even with that being said, top 25.
I mean, so as much as I love that, Mike, I'm gonna have to call you. I think that's a little bit biased, and I think you tried to put it. And I think you tried to put it on the production side. What I'm trying to tell you is that, well, Q-Tip made the Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders and helped make the Infamous, and all of those albums are better than Southern Playalistic and Soul Food objectively.
Hey, I'm not gonna fight you on
End of discussion. You feel what I'm saying? So as much like Southern Playalistic is the album that made me believe that I could rap. It made me believe that anything was possible. I love that album. I think Soul Food's one of the most important albums of all time. It's not better than the Low End Theory or Midnight Marauders or the Infamous. Neither one of those records.
Here's a super chat I want to address. Melvin Wright says, everybody isn't a lyricist. I find it hard to believe you, Mike. Praise Project Pat, but discredit Jeezy. Project Pat is way better than Jeezy. It's not even a competition. What are y'all listening to? What? Maybe I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Maybe I just don't get it, man. Project Pat is leaps and bounds better than Jeezy.
He's not leaps and bounds
He
better,
is,
Mike, but I
man.
do think he's
He
better.
is, man. You hear
Not
this
leaps and
man's
bounds.
style in everything from the originality. Pat had. Does Jeezy have a "I Choose You"?
Oh God, no. He
Doesn't.
do, he doesn't have a Mr. Don't Play, in my
Well, of
opinion.
course
Mr.
he
Don't Play is
doesn't.
epic.
He doesn't.
Mr.
Oh,
Don't Play is epic.
it is. Yeah. Mad Max to the super chat says Fat Joe has Lean Back alone better than Jeezy. Well, again, he had help on Lean Back. Y'all telling me that Lean Back would be the same without Remy Ma?
No.
Let's be real.
No,
Where's Fat Joe's hit record without a feature, man? Like, let's be real. I got to give Jeezy that.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give Jeezy that. Because Jeezy got songs like Get Your Mind Right.
No, I hear you.
Yeah. Eric Terrell with the super chat says Outkast and Soul Food had no samples. Please name one, Mike and Coop. I mean, you could go to whosampled.com and they'll show you all the samples from those albums. I don't want to go through a whole diatribe about that, but there were samples on there.
What,
Yeah.
on Southern Playalistic and Soul Food?
Mm-hmm. The album with minimal samples, though, I would say is a
No. It might have been minimal, but it's going down. You know?
Yeah. It's minimal. I mean, they did some
It's
incredible
okay.
work. It's okay.
I love those albums. Like, how about this? I play Southern Playalistic and Soul Food more than I play the Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders. But Mike, I'm from Charlotte and from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I used to play.
You're just such a Tribe fan.
Yeah, I think as time has gone on, man, I listen to the Low End Theory more.
There are very few albums that I've listened to more than I've listened to Southern Playalistic and Soul Food, in all honesty. Like, the three that immediately came to my mind were Illmatic, The Purple Tape, and The Infamous. Like, I know I've listened to those albums more than I've listened to Southern Playalistic and Soul Food, but those are the only three off the top of my head.
Now I listen to Akumina more.
Those are special albums to me. Like as somebody that wanted to be an artist that was from the South, like Southern Playalistic, Soul Food, AT Aliens. Like, those were the ones that made you believe if you came from our era, because you were hearing the shit they were putting down. You're like, man, this stuff is fucking great.
Funky Ride is, to me, that's the X Factor record on Southern Playalistic that puts it on a different level. Like, that's from a production standpoint, from an album putting together standpoint.
I thought it was the Crumbling Herb to Hootie Hoo transition.
I love that too.
You know, where they broke it down, when they broke the drums down and just faded it out, and then they kicked it up, and then they just took the drums out and hit the guitar lick and brought Hootie Hoo in, and then Big Boy's verse. I was like, is that high level ass production on a Southern rap album? This is early '94. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to hear that production wise on a Southern rap album, like the thought of it, Mike. The live instrumentation of it was different. It's like, what the fuck is that?
And just for the fans out there, Crumbling Herb sample Isaac Hayes. Joe Bell was the name of the song. So, I mean, there were samples up there, and we're not saying that to denigrate or anything like that. We're just being accurate. LP with the super chat says, Cash chose not to use them on Love Below /Speakerbox.
They didn't use them. They only used them for like 4 tracks on AT Aliens. They didn't use them on Aquemini at all.
Yeah.
Am I right, Mike?
Well, no,
they
you
only
talking
did like
about
4 tracks
Organized?
on AT Aliens, right?
Oh, you talking about Organized? Organized on AT Aliens did Two Dope Boys, which is a sample from the 5 Stair Steps. They did Two Dope Boys. What else did they do on AT Aliens? They did Decatur Song.
Okay.
Let me go to Akumina because I know those off top. They did Return of the Gangster. They did Mamacita. They did Skew It on the Barbie.
Two Dope Boys was the best beat of all of those.
Yeah. They did. No, they didn't do Slump. Let me look at this AT Aliens track list real quick.
Two Dope Boys is that lit. That's what I was about to pull up. I was about to pull up AT Aliens. Two Dope Boys is that heat, though.
Because I know I'm missing something. Let's see.
I feel like they did 4 tracks on AT Aliens and 3 on Aquemini.
They did 3 on Aquemini. They did Two Dope Boys. They did Jazzy Bell. I
never loved Jazzy Bell like everybody else did.
I love Jazzy Bell.
I don't.
Decatur Song. I feel like they did 13th Floor. Now I could be wrong. We'll go to the credits in a few, but um, what are you rating this album? Is it time to rate?
I think I'll probably have to give it a 4, but I know you don't think as highly of it. But I don't know. I want to hear it again too. I only got to hear everything once today.
I'm probably not gonna listen to it again. But
Oh, I don't. I mean, Mike, to be honest with you, like 90% of the stuff that we listen to, I pretty much put away until like it's time to get into like review mode. And that's why I make sure I
yeah,
take so many notes on stuff so I can remember what the hell that I said about what, so that like when I hear the records again, like it tracks back. Like I only listen to certain shit, you know. It's only built for Cuban links over here, Mike.
so why
You
would you
know.
give it a 4? I'm gonna ask you that.
I think it's the best project that he's done since 103. So it's been about 11 years. The production is pretty good, Mike. Like, it's not what I would call, like, I don't think it's going to end up being one of the best production jobs of the year, per se.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it is an excellent production job. I think that what he provides to his listeners and to his fan base, he just provided them the best version of it in a long time. You have some solid points. I might end up going a little bit lower than a 4, but I'm not going to give it. How about this? When we're rating this and we're putting this in our yearbook, speaking of which, ain't nobody been picking up our yearbook lately.
Yeah. Go get the yearbook. It's on Amazon. It should be in here as well. Get the digital version. We'll have it in the chat also.
Right. But I can see it going lower than the 3.5. I'm gonna give it a tentative 4 right now, just tentative, because I've only gotten to listen to it really solid the whole way through. I'm just like you though, Mike. When I heard Colors, I was like, oh, that's that heat. He ain't made a record like that in a long ass time.
Yeah, Colors is hard.
Colors is hard. Like when I mean he hasn't made a record like that in the longest time. I mean it's just him on there. You feel me?
And I know people think I'm being whatever. I feel like Jeezy has the skill set to definitely galvanize people with his voice and how he delivers his rhymes and his perspectives. I just don't think that he's putting in the effort to actually do that at this level and take what he has created to the next level. And
Oh
I
no,
don't
Mike, we're
understand.
not.
Huh?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I don't. I'm one of those people where it's like, especially because we were just talking about Nas and the fact that he really ain't got to do what he's doing right now. Jeezy really doesn't have to do what he's doing right now. Jeezy's one of those artists who have made such a successful life for himself. He doesn't even have to really make music. And my thing is, if you don't have anything to say, why are you even making music? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that I feel like he could do to push forward his musical legacy, and a lot of the things that he says in interviews, again, like some of the game that he's given in interviews and how he visualizes the world and just building and generational wealth and all that stuff. I would love to hear in the music, and I feel like we're just not getting that. I feel like when I listen to him, I'm grading a student's paper that I know has the potential to actually do it better.
Uh, I just wanted to get some organized noise production credits, right, Mike?
Go
They
ahead.
did Two Dope Boys.
Uh-huh.
They also did Babylon, Mike.
Babylon, okay. Yeah, they did do
I
that.
think Babylon might be the best song on AT Aliens, actually.
From my understanding, I think that Ray Murray was the one that, did the beat work on AT Aliens, whereas,
I can see that.
yeah.
I can see that.
But,
They did
since
Wailing
they're a
too.
collective, everybody gets credit, just like how Rico Wade is the one that made the cell therapy beat, but, it's under
Right.
organized noise, so yeah.
They got production credit for Wailing,
Yeah, that one too.
Mainstream.
Oh, how did I miss Mainstream? Yeah.
Yep, they did Decatur song. They did Millennium too, Mike.
Okay.
The
Me and everything around me is unstable like Chernobyl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they did 13th Floor.
Okay. So they did heavy work on AT Aliens. Outkast did, or Earth Tone 3 did Over the Woods, AT Aliens, Elevators,
Wheels of Steel.
Wheels of Steel. Great
The
records.
fact that they did Elevators is pretty crazy, though.
Yeah, I think that was one of their first tracks ever doing.
Right?
Yep. C Note with the super chat says he's scratching on records I'm sorry, it's scratching on records becoming a lost art. I think it's coming back, just like vinyls came back, but I think that we need more of it. I've always loved scratching on records.
What do you rate the Jeezy, Mike?
For an artist of his caliber, with the access that he has, and with the abilities that I know he has, I'm giving it a 3.7.
Okay. I'll mark your 3.7 down because I'm giving it a tentative 4. But like I said, I was in my car riding this Jeezy. I'm more of a fan than you are, and about the objectivity of it all, because we're a credible institution here.
And these are all my opinions, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to add some sort of context to my opinion.
We'll go 3.7 for now. If I feel like that I hear more than a 3.7, we'll swerve up on Wednesday, and I'll be like,
I'm gonna listen to it more.
We'll roll with your 3.7 for now. I
I'm
feel
gonna
like it's
listen to
a
it
4,
more.
but I feel like it could slide depending on like how it sits on me over the weekend. So,
Jadarion's in the building. What up? What up? He said, "I've listened to the new Liz and I enjoy it, but it's not getting more spins than No Rest for the Wicked."
No, I mean,
I think that's
you feel
a good
that way. You're
transition.
entitled to your feelings.
I think that's a good transition. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, "Coop, I think the group loses ends. I'm sorry, the group loose ends is underrated. Other than Sade, they're the best group of the '80s. Your thoughts? Neo Soul before Neo Soul. Loose ends was dope.
Best band of the '80s, huh?
Most underrated, I think he said.
Oh, underrated. Oh yeah, if you want to say underrated, then yeah, okay, that's fair. I mean, I was about to tell some light skin jokes. Be like, so it's like Shalimar and DeBar's underrated. Like, I don't know, like them some Puerto Rican ass looking light skin.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And Fat Joe is black.
I'm cool with Loose Ends being the most underrated band of the '80s.
Do you think Fat Joe's black?
Me?
Yeah. I mean, because
everybody
this was posted, and
that's how I was raised to think.
This was posted on social media, and everybody in the comments were like, "Yeah, Fat Joe's black," because he said,
I told you, Mike, I was raised to think that everybody from the Bronx is black. Like all these niggas.
Not true. And you know what the biggest example is? Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez is Jenny from the block, from the Bronx, grew up in the Bronx in the 70s, Puerto Rican. She gets on the big screen, they got her with Matthew McConaughey. Just saying.
Yeah, but in real life, she's fucking Puff Daddy. So, all right.
Man, that was temporary. Who's she married to now? Boom.
I mean, I ain't gonna knock her hustle. She got her reasons.
They were never
too
even
old to be knocking people's hustles.
No, never knock the hustle. I'm just talking reality. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Is that, well, I'm not even. You want to know what? No, we about to go down a rabbit hole, so I'm get us in trouble. No, not doing it.
Leroy said Fat Joe ain't J-Lo, Mike, but I hear you. Why not? They're both light-skinned Puerto Ricans, right? Actually, I would say Fat Joe's lighter than her. I would say Fat Joe's.
I hate this. I'm going to do some unpacking about it and do some real searching. I'm going to do a dig into some like Puerto Rican ancestry and kind of like see where it stems from, because there is a part of their population that identifies Afro-Latino.
No, there are though. There are black Puerto Ricans. That's what I'm saying. He's just not one of them. There are Puerto Ricans that look like us.
But how do you know, Mike? How do you know that?
Because look at them. Look at them.
Look at them. No, Mike, that's not fair.
Is it not?
I know, no, Mike. Right now, I know a woman from Puerto Rico, and she is so light skinned, and you damn near might think if you looked at her in the wrong light that she might be white. Oh no, she's a nigga, Mike. She one of us. Trust me.
Based on what?
I know it. Oh, Mike, I've dealt with her. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Sat down. Oh, like down to the way she like kicks her legs up when she's off work and like opens up her beer, like the whole shit. Like no, she black. Like that's what I'm saying. It's
For
like we can't be going off.
Oh,
This is not school days. I know you're not playing a fucking light skin, dark skin game.
It's not a light skin, dark skin game. Listen.
Are you trying to school days the Puerto Rican people?
Let Fat Joe's hair grow out and you tell me if he can get a fro. Eric Terrell with the super chat says Lisa was black. And there it is.
I'm with Lisa being black too. With that.
Okay. All these are jokes, guys.
I'm going to get some evidence, Mike. No. We're going to get some evidence. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Because when you're from the Bronx, it's like everybody's half Panamanian and Trinidadian and Jamaican and Bohemian and Puerto Rican. And what the fuck?
He's not one of them, though.
What the fuck, son? The fuck? Everybody from the islands. Mike, Denham's family is from fucking St. Croix. Like our senior writer, like Denham's family from St. Croix, but they're from the Bronx, but they're from St. Croix.
Does she look like Fat Joe?
I've been calling them niggas for a long time, Mike.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Listen, again, he can be a Puerto Rican, but that doesn't make him black. So you're saying all Puerto Ricans are black? I was
on the phone with Denham's older brother in Seattle the other day. I was definitely calling that nigga.
So what you're telling me is all Puerto Ricans are black.
I ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm going to look for some evidence. Because every nigga I ever met from the Bronx, I be saying nigga too.
Somebody said I'm calling Fat Joe the Logic of Puerto Rico. Listen. At least Logic's father is black, allegedly.
Just oh my God. See, here we go.
Listen. Has Fat Joe ever grew his hair out? He been bald the whole time, so I guess that's hard evidence to know. All right,
let's get to the Armand.
Again, I'm saying this based on my friend from Brazil. She was a lighter complected Brazilian. She has darker family members. They consider them to be black Brazilians, where she's not considered to be that, and so I think that. Again, it's the same thing when it comes to that part of it. Now, when she came to America, then, she identified with black people because obviously she wasn't white American. But with that being said, she still wasn't like, I'm black. Like, Fat Joe saying, I thought I was black. That's why I'm going to say the N-word. I guess that's not the reality.
Well, I like my Brazilian women the way I like my Colombian women, the way I like my Filipino women, the way I like my black women, and that's just like fine as hell. So it's like I don't really care about none of that light skin, dark skin.
No, I feel you, man. I feel you. All right, let me shut up before I do even more.
Said try them on. That's what he did.
More better Coop with the super chat says. The Liz 2 was a 4.9 out of 5 for me until the last song with Beat King. I actually liked the last song. That song made me drop it down. The last
song, that shit slapping. Yeah. Oh, Mike, we know where that's going to be playing tonight in Atlanta, and it ain't going to be on according to hip hop. If you want to come outside with me, I can show you where they'll be playing the record. I can take you with me if you'll pull up tonight. We will hear that record tonight.
So that song made me drop it down to at least a 4.75. Dag, Mo. All right. Jadarian with the super chat says, you are what your parents are. Black parents equals black kids. Don't need to go deep into ancestry. That's true. He don't have black parents. It is what it is.
But some of you don't know where your parents came from. Like some of us are like people have told me, like some of us are indigenously here already, though. So you're really more like native than you even are like black. So it's like when you say that, that's what I mean. No. You need some evidence.
Fat Joe got black parents?
We started this shit. Huh?
Fat Joe got black parents?
I'm not touching it. I don't know what his parents look like.
All right, let me go to the Amani season.